Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about your friend, Mr. Boule Martin. Now, why are we talking about him today? Well, we knew the election cycle.
Because he's a clown.
And you have less than a year away, for the election. And I was saying, when is the fear mongering going to start? When? So there was a video that popped in my feed of Boule Martin. We put this up on the screen. And I said, oh God, here they go with this misinformation, disinformation crap.
Look at this guy. Big, fat ass, bald, paid, shill. Look at this dude. Don't listen to this guy, Roland Martin. No. He does not have your best interest at heart.
I say, oh, it's all they have is just buzzwords, name calling. Okay, fine. But something told me, no, Phil, take your time and listen through that video. So I took my time to listen through the whole video so you didn't have to. And there's only 38 seconds of that video. Actually, at the end is actually what I want to focus on. Now, I want you to hear exactly what he's going to say, because we definitely going to build and educate at the same time. Let's go ahead and roll that.
If Donald Trump and these Republican zealots control the White House, control the House and the Senate, if you think you saw crazy during his 4 years, and if you thought you saw crazy this past week with these fools, you do not want to see if they had a trifecta in DC, because it's going to look like Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas.
And what's so wrong with what's going on in those states? Those states are operating better than most of the country. Well, I would throw Mississippi out of there, because Mississippi is about as racist as you get. Mississippi has always been as racist as you get, but from a economical standpoint and the buzzwords that Democrats like to use, equality, there's no better state than Florida from an operating standpoint, which means we don't need to depend on the government if we go down to Florida and start a business. But oh no, that's not the business that you're in, Mr. Roland Martin.
Tell me how that's gone for black folks.
So the fear mongering has started for the 2024 election, because they really don't have anything that they can present to black people and say, hey, black Americans, this is what we done for y'all. You see it. There's not much we got to say. Give us another 4 years and we're going to do a lot more for you, right? In that video, he was also taking issue with y'all saying about you wanted policies specifically for black Americans. He took a lot of issue with that, and his panel took a lot of issue with that as well. If they're taking issue, you're on the right track. But toward the end, he mentioned, as you heard in the video, that if you allow Donald Trump to get back in office and you allow the Republicans to control the House and the Senate.
If you allow Donald Trump to get back in office, you're going to prosper economically. Is one of the things that's going to happen. That's one of the things that's going to happen, because when he was in office before, that's what happened. Money runs this. Now, all of the other stuff, you don't have to like the guy personally. The way that I look at it is, look at the president's kind of like when you're at work, your boss. You don't have to like your boss. You don't have to. If you do, that really says something about you. I'm not going to say negative or positive, but you just at least respect the position. That's all you got to do. Respect the position.
It's going to look like, he mentioned Texas, he mentioned Florida. Glad he mentioned Texas. Very, very glad he mentioned that. I live in the state of Texas. And let's go ahead and do a little deep dive. Let's talk about California for a minute. California
Yes.
is the Democrat Central. It has a Democrat governor, Gavin Newsom.
And it's fucked up in
Democrats
California.
control their House. It controls their Senate. The Democrats have a supermajority in California. So if Democrat policies was the best in the world and it was a utopia for all America, why would the Los Angeles Times post this article that you see on the screen? They're leaving in droves from California to what state?
Texas.
Well, if, according to Boulay, if Trump get back in there, it's gonna look like Texas. Well, why all the people leaving California to come to Texas if Texas was so horrible? So let's go through this article here. So a Jane Jordan, 61 years old, was a lifelong California resident until August, when she sold her home in Corona and moved to Azil, Texas. Now I say Jordan wanted to stay close to her daughter and grandchildren who were planning to move from Irvine to the Lone Star State next year in order to buy a home. So when she joined the Facebook group of California migrants to Texas, she found a community willing to help her choose the right moving company and weigh in on the route to take for the 1,360-mile drive. It says she soon found through the Facebook group that her neighbor across the street in Azil, it said, had also moved from the same neighborhood in Corona. She said, and I quote, "It's a small world." You say a lot of people from California are moving here. Now I say Jordan's move is reflective of a larger trend for California, which has seen more residents moving out over the last few years than new people moving in. In 2022,
Now they're moving out, but if they take those same ways of thinking and take them to Texas, then that's no good either. You got to think of why you're moving out. It's mostly economical, and that comes from your politicians. Come on now, don't take this same way of thinking to the new state that you're moving to.
118,000 Californians left for other states, while 476,000 moved in, resulting in a domestic loss of 342,000 to the Golden State, according to newly released census data. They say, but some states have been taking in more California's former residents than others, with Texas leading in that category. Now, Boulay Martin, why is all these people, sir, leaving the Democrat enclave of California? Now let's talk about black people. Democrat policies in California has harmed black people. Why has it harmed black people? What has harmed black people the most? Definitely the high home prices,
Crime.
the hyperinflation that goes on in California where it's so ridiculous to live. But the Democrats, as we know, believe in open borders. We know this. What happened to black people in LA? If black people don't stand up against that, that's going to be replicated in every state. That's why in Chicago, they're standing up and fighting against this, because they don't want what happened to the black people in LA to happen in Chicago. You understand? What happened to the black people in Chicago? They start flooding the zone with people from across the border. They got their numbers up so high, they start bringing their criminality in. Their criminality and anti-black racism that happens in a lot of these places, they start targeting and attacking black people. Even the federal government had to go in and arrest their gangs for targeting black people, throwing Molotov cocktails in black people's homes to try to force them out of neighborhoods. Hate crimes these people was committing against black Americans. So with the crimes that was happening, targeting black Americans in Los Angeles, flooding the zone in that state, Democrat policies just choke out black people to the point that black people also had to leave in mass, and they're leaving every day. A lot of black people going to Nevada, a lot of them coming to Houston, like Sister Demetra. She's from California, right? She's right here in Houston. They're going to Dallas, they're going to Atlanta. They go into Charlotte, North Carolina. They go into a whole lot of different places. We're talking about the black population of LA. Black people are done in California. No matter what you say, you can try to hold on to it all you want. You're done. I've been there. I seen it. You're done. It'll be better for you to come regroup in the South. We got more black people here, and let's make sure we don't allow a Los Angeles to happen elsewhere. Right. Since we got an example of what happens with Democrat policies. And notice, Boulay don't talk about Chicago like that. He don't mention anything about the immigration and how it's harming black America. You know why some people are now supporting Trump? Because Trump said, if I get back in there, I'm getting them out.
Yes.
Go tell the people in Chicago, Boulay, about they're wrong for that. When they're literally watching their tax dollars being stripped from them. Remember the story from Mudson Park. They're taking their field house where their elderly go for their programs. Their children go for their programs. These kids go to that park after school. They taking resources from the community and giving to people because Joe Biden and the Democrats have an open border policy. See, but you're not talking about that. See, over here, and those of us who are really got the pulse of Black America, we talk about these sort of things. Well, let's continue. Since you want to talk about misinformation and all of that, you not telling the truth about even Texas. Let's continue. So in 41.
For the record, when the Democrats talk about misinformation, it means think the way that we think or you're wrong, which is a bunch of fucking nonsense.
One U.S. states that say more people arrived from California than moved to California than last year. It said more than 100,000 Californians moved to Texas last year, compared with 40,000 who made the opposite move. It said Florida drew nearly 75,000 people from California, with 30,000 moving in the opposite direction. Washington, Nevada, and Florida saw around 50,000 California arrivals, and far fewer people moved to California. So you mentioned Florida. You mentioned that. So if you said if Donald Trump get back in, it's going to look like Texas and Florida, people are leaving the Democrat utopia to go to the states that you just said that is what it's going to look like.
No, they got to
So I
vote
guess
in the
it
same
can't be
fashion.
that bad, right? If they leaving all those good Democrat policies. Now they say New Jersey, said the state in most bucked the trend, had around 6,600 more people move to California than arrived from the state. Now say experts that say attribute the exodus from California primarily to the high cost of housing in the state, but also the issues as crime, politics, and traffic. I'm going to repeat that again. The house is too high. The crime is through the roof. Look at San Francisco with the bipping and all the different things with the gangs all over the place. The Democrat policies in the politics and traffic. Now they say as Texas booms, the state will have to contend with many of the same issues that are driving California to leave, says Michelle Dickerson, is a professor of law at the University of Texas at Austin and an expert, on the housing crisis. She said Texas is appealing to Californians who are looking for lower housing costs and don't mind the trade-offs.
So that's going to be the end of this video. It's very important to understand the behavior of these people that are moving from California to these other states. But we have to wonder about their thinking, and we have to wonder about their vote. You can't. There's a reason why you're moving, whatever your reason is. I don't know. I can't talk to you. I can't ask you. But it's obviously the crime, the high prices, the high cost of living, this and that. That stuff can be controlled. That stuff can be regulated. That stuff is not just natural. And then you move to states with lower cost of living, less crime, this, that, and the other. It's because of your politicians. Your politicians affect just about every aspect of your life. So when these people, we see these migrations by American citizens going from here to there to here, there's a reason for it. And when you decide to move, for whatever reason you decide to move, you have to change your way of thinking.